So, hi, I'm Pt.1, CEO of Yes Please AI. We build a fashion AI innovating product discovery experience. And these days, I am obsessed with the idea of ChatGPT. And I thought it'd be more fun to bring the industry experts and talk about the impact. And I can think about the better panelists than Agnes and Christina. They bring years of experience in fashion, digital transformation, fashion trend forecasting. So without further ado, let's get started. And how about quick intro? Christina, can we start with you?
Yeah, no, it's great to join you again, Jiwon. Always fascinating. Agnes, we're finally meeting. I think you have a fascinating pulse on trends and what is going to succeed. So can't wait to get into the topic of how AI might assist in that. But as Jiwon said, I've been in digital product for the specifically last going on 15 years. I've seen some things I want to unsee, but bringing my expertise to how to help organizations merchandise digitally and essentially really tailor offers and not always discounts and things like that, but how to really help consumers tap into the best of their customer experience and find what it is that they're looking for. So thank you for including me. I cannot wait to jump in and talk about some of these fascinating use cases.
I'm in France, south of France, Nice, and I'm not far from the beach here, so it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, I'm very happy to be with you tonight or tomorrow. You are in the morning time, right? And so for my part, I'm a designer and expert fashion designer, but not only fashion designer, but also expert in trends. Now for more than 25 years, so it means I have a very, very long experience. And I'm doing trends for a lot of industry. Fashion, of course, is the beginning of my story, but also textile. Fashion and textile, it goes together, of course. This is the big industry together. Each time I'm talking about fashion, textile is including into the fashion process. And then also I'm doing trends for automotive industry, technology industry, home appliances, electronic devices. So a lot of what I'm calling that, it's a lifestyle industry. It's easy way to understand what I'm doing. And the starting point, if you like, the starting point of the trend story here is really the consumers. And why? Only because it's important to understand what are the consumers' evolution to propose product and services according to the consumer's evolution. If you don't know which direction to follow, how is it possible to create something new, suitable with consumers' expectations? So it's why we really need to understand the consumer's expectation to start something. And I think, about the fashion industry, textile fashion industry right now is the turning point of the industry due to AI, ChatGPT, generative AI, new technology right now, generally speaking, makes the fashion industry going in a very new direction. And ladies, it's what we can discuss together tonight.
Yeah, that's great.
So
Don't study yet. We're gonna get into that. So, but thank you for the introduction. I thought maybe we can start with taking a quick vote. So, ChatGPT, generative AI, is that a hype or here to stay? Christina?
I think we're seeing an application of it. So I think it's already been started, and obviously OpenAI initiative, Sam Altman, and I think it was originally funded with some Elon Musk funding as well. This has been around. So I think we're just seeing the acceleration of something that's been obviously where the puck has been sort of going, to use the Wayne Gretzky leadership management mantra of you don't want to necessarily go where the puck is, you want to go where it's going. And when I think about, because I'm all about consumer behavior and what makes the customer experience really shine, when I think about the qualities of a really well thought out product, I think it's just at that tipping point of we're seeing the utility, we're seeing the application, we're seeing one of many. I don't know about you, and Suri might go off right now, but I've been using, Suri AI assistants for a very long time. It's just becoming to that point of utility, its usefulness, and its applicability, which again, when I think about a really good product, they typically have the qualities of very well understood, easy to use. The value and utility of it is pretty adaptive and quick. And the last I would just say is that it's clear who it's for. So I think ChatGPT 4 with its powerhouse of being able to bring in image and text and context, more importantly, I think this is just one of many that we're seeing, which is probably why the proliferation has felt like a wildfire.
Okay. Agnes, what about you?
Yeah, and I would say, when talking about technology or advanced technology, I don't know if I tell you that I spent the last 15 years in China. I used to have my trans agency in China, and I came back to France due to COVID. Anyway, this is another story. But when you live in China, it's really impressive because advanced technology, including AI, are really well developed. And I remember when I left Shanghai, the last time I took a Coca-Cola in the distributor, I paid with the face recognition. It was, for me, it was pretty familiar, I would say. I had habits to pay my invoice in the grocery, supermarket, whatever. And here, when I came back to France, I explained that to people around me. And they say, are you crazy? And I say, no, it's the real life in China. And so you see the discrepancy. I'm talking about the discrepancy between technology, the way people are able to accept technology, and then what you are doing with the technology. And here in France, people really don't like technology and new technology, advanced technology, and especially in France, because they are reluctant to give information, private information. We are checking everything. And we say, oh no, maybe it's too quick. And we need to slow down. We need to think a little bit more. We need to discuss point after point. But suddenly, and it's why, suddenly it was as, here as a magic when ChatGPT appeared in France 2 months ago, something like that. It was as a small revolution in France. And we know a lot about revolution in France, riots, everything. And it was, people were totally surprised. But when I say surprised, it's, oh my God, what is that? Because they were not prepared to that. French people, especially, French people, they say, oh no, it's not for us. We are the best. We don't need help, stuff like that. And suddenly something appeared here, ChatGPT, and people are amazed and surprised with the ChatGPT. What I want to say here in China, they say, okay, no problem, we can do everything you want. Face recognition, ChatGPT, Chinese version, of course, everything is okay. Here, and it's why it's really interesting, it's a step-by-step process. But what is interesting in France is, okay, ChatGPT is the right direction, but we need to discuss everything. And this is the French way of thinking is, we can accept everything, but first we have to talk. And the French spirit is that direction. And it's why I think here in France, in Europe, we are a little bit slow, or we are very slow, but at the end, probably we can have something fine-tuned according the way we are thinking. And it's why, it's what I want to say. The way we are thinking has to be related to AI tools we can potentially use in the close future. And it's really important. For us, it's the first level of technology adoption.
Mhm.
All right. Good stuff. I mean, we have a lot of questions to go, so I'm just gonna
We
Right.
are talking too much.
No, but I do wanna like dig a little bit deeper. So Christina, let's start with you. You're the expert of the digital product, personalization, have years of experience like Walmart, American Eagle Outfitter, Sephora, Shop Style.
And on and on.
So what excites you the most about ChatGPT and any impact on the personalization? Let's start with that.
Well, that's a very big question. That could take any number of hours here. But here's what I would say. I would say that the way that I'm thinking about ChatGPT is around utility. I think consumer behavior is changeable. Even if you think about the blue dot, Google Maps, that is taking data in real time and changing my actual behavior.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think of perhaps I'm too customer centric and forward. And also, how do I start to apply that in my everyday life so it doesn't become this very big nebulous, you know, sort of thing? I think it has to come down to utility. So I get this a lot, like, you know, our product manager is going to be replaced by ChatGPT. Not in the same way a doctor is going to be, you know, by a robot. Maybe in years to come for things that are pretty much the robotics can be spot on, and that might be something that, again, the context and deployment strategy for that kind of use case would be really fascinating. But I think we're years away. What I would say is, again, somebody who has the qualities of curiosity, taking the applicability of this type of technology and using it in small ways and big ways, just to kind of kick the tires and really understand the power behind it. I think that anyone who could be curious about that and help improve it will be a much more powerful practitioner of their craft than anything else. And that's the way that I'm going eyes wide open into exploring and using it. Luckily, I'm in a situation as a consultant where I can use the tokens of organizations' API access to ChatGPT-4 to help apply. But I think it's more the utility of how it gets used to make those intellectual shortcuts. But there's a lot of work to be done. You know, some of my most favorite examples of that are even in small ways, like a broadcaster bringing on a digital expert and having ChatGPT-4 write the opening intro, and everything about it, the familiarity, the words, the way that that intro was crafted, and yet how that expert was introduced was all wrong. So I think it's you know, there's the way that it gets used, but then the information has to be right. And I think, like anything, even ChatGPT-4 as a receptor, usability, or another use case of how the way you input something in a Google open box, I think it's just a matter of, am I telling it to do something? And do I trust the information that it gives me back? So I think it's only as good as the information is validated. But in terms of the way that I see it every day, I certainly think on-site search, ways in which you can take these massive catalogs at a Walmart or even at a Nordstrom and make sense of somebody who's searching for something and certainly deliver it in a much more engaged way. I'm all about, even if it's anonymized journey pathing, I think that that's a very important use case. And you know, those who are going to experiment and explore, it's just another iteration of the business case one would make in terms of just having a chatbot on your site. Mm-hmm. So it's just more those who can be curious about it, not afraid, but really focus on the accuracy of the information, I think it will deliver a very powerful set of intellectual shortcuts.
Thank you, Christina. I resonate a lot of stuff, but I'm just gonna pause. But Agnes, same question. I mean, you the expert of the fashion trend forecast, one of the coolest job in the world. So
amazing.
what excites you about ChatGPT or generative AI, and what is the impact on fashion trending like forecast?
Okay. What I noticed, what is really exciting by using ChatGPT or DALL-E 2 or Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, Crayon, it's generative, image generative AI. We have both two tools for designers. Here I'm talking from the designer's point of view, or trends forecasters is the same level. We need this type of tools for maybe the first reason here, when we are preparing a new collection. This is an example, new collection of garments or fabrics or patterns or whatever you want. We are always very scared by the blank page. And to avoid to be scared in front of the blank page, you say, oh my God, what should I do? Is it the right direction or not? We are always, it's really tough the way we are starting a new collection. The way to calm down, we have two tools. The first one is the trends, but somehow, doing trends is very, it's really demanding. You need to go to search deeper in depth, a lot of information to analyze everything and so on. So we are very lucky in the two main sectors here. When you are a designer, you have generative AI dedicated to design with the pictures. Trends forecasters, we can ask some question to ChatGPT and we can get answers. So here we are solving the problem of maybe FOMO, missing something, scaring about the blank page. So it's really good here because you can type something and you get immediate results. And suddenly you have a picture in front of you, or you have a text explaining you something. So this is a very good way to start. But you try one time, two times, twice, and so on, you continue. And suddenly, you are noticed, and probably, it's probably the limit, the beginning of the limit of ChatGPT or generative image. Because you can notice that even if you ask another question, you can get result, you get another result, and so on. And suddenly it doesn't make sense anymore. It means we are talking here, we are touching maybe the limitation of the tools itself. We have the limitation of the tools in terms of design. I would say when you are creating, we ask DALL-E or Midjourney, for instance, to design a dress. This is a stupid example. But the first dress can be okay, the second one is acceptable, and the third one is type of hallucination. It doesn't make sense anymore. So it's why we need to learn how to use the tools. And here we need to type the right words. So it means it has to be a trendy words or related to the trends, or you need to find, anyway, this is a taxonomy or semantics word we need to develop here. But also what you say, Christina, is really important. And I put it on my notebook. It's intellectual shortcuts. And here, this is the same problem as the image, hallucination here, and short intellectual shortcuts. And here, maybe the answer is good, maybe not. And if you are not curious enough, it can be wrong. And it's why we need to go in depth in the tools to make sure we can get the right answer to the question we are asking before. And it's really difficult. And it's why, okay, it's amazing to get this type of tools, but it's really, frankly speaking, I use ChatGPT every day, and it's really difficult to work with this kind of tools because sometimes the result is good, and sometimes the result is a disaster, a pure disaster. So what do we do? So anyway, I don't know what I wanted to say.
I like the way you say the intellectual shortcut. That
Yeah.
makes sense. And I think that's aligned to what Christina also said.
Yeah.
It empowers us like as a powerful tool to use it. So no, I see your point. I mean, I think you gave us a lot of good examples. Just for quickly for me, like I think Christina, you also mentioned the site search.
Yeah.
I can finish in 2 minutes. But what I'm excited about the freedom that now we don't have to search the way the machine understand, because the way search engine works, as we've been trained to search by exact keywords, that limits the search experience. But ChatGPT allows us to speak naturally and still finds a good search result or recommendation. So for that aspect, I am excited about. I think it just unlocked the whole new potential and experience. So without
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's a practical utility. When I think of, again, customer service or any kind of rigid sort of, there's only way to express an alternative sentence in English into Spanish, for example, which is a language I fluently speak, write, the whole thing, read. And when I think about those use cases, and sorry to be so product minded here in the sense of here is a use case, the applicability, I mean, the list goes on. And then as a consumer, I mean, we're all consumers. Imagine getting that translated information just in time in the way that you need it. I mean, certainly going back to using something fundamentally that changed my behavior and changes my behavior every day, which is using a mapping GPS function, that certainly, how do I avoid traffic to go pick up my son exactly at the right time? And so on, it's possible. Changing a consumer outcome and behavior through the use of technology, we see it every day. So when I think about how to, chat GPTize my FAQs or the way that I might engage with a customer who needs the right information at the right time, and it could be mission critical, and they might need it in a different language format. I think that could be really powerful. I think of, to your point, Agnes, about how daunting a white blank page can be, but it can also be empowering. It could say, hey, I need to create a set of keywords to make these new trend forward pieces, or talk about a fabrication of something that's been done and a new way to talk about the performance of this sustainable fabrication of something. That's where I think the way that we start on that blank page will give us that intellectual shortcut and use through something like ChatGPT 4. I think some of it just goes back to what are the sources of making that, intellectual implies it's right, there's smarts there. All of that just needs to be validated. And that's where I think, again, as a worker, as somebody who's in the business of exploring and making the art of what's possible, I do think that's where that judgment and, that barometer of what good, that's that judgment piece. And that's where I think a lot of the work that's yet to be done is going to factor in.
So it sounds like we are kind of exploring and see how that goes. But if we have to just brutally choose hype or stay, what would be your vote?
Oh, stay. It's I think you're just seeing one of many examples. Dad jokes get a bad rap, but you see the application of ChatGPT on tell me a good dad joke, right? Or a good pun, all the way to some of the true, what I say, true work in the sense of helping to bring the right information to the right, use or to the right person who needs it. And I think of, maybe it's because it's been COVID, but I do think of applications in medicine. If somebody gets prescribed something and I'm already on something, are there going to be adverse impacts? And I think that there's some, like with any new technology, there needs some regulatory oversight. And obviously being in France and hearing your take Agnes, it's so true that with privacy and some things in the ways in which the internet are regulated, I do think that there needs to be some oversight there. But in terms of biometrics, 1995, I remember being in Japan and giving some biometrics in order to buy something from a vending machine as well. And so that really resonates for me. And, these days when I go through an airport, I use Clear. Obviously I'm cleared by the retinas and the retinal structure of my eyes. So I think it's just a matter of time on the use case, the ease of it, the applicability, but also knowing that there's some safety protocols involved, that it's not going to go necessarily, there are always bad actors, but I'm really here to talk about the art of possibility with it, understanding that, these are just certain use cases. So I certainly think I know you're looking for a stay. I think it's been here. We're only just now starting to use it in the same ways in which we used a pen or something else.
I know, Francie, we're taking slowly and talking about it, but overall today, high or stay, Agnes?
Stay. Of course, totally agree with Christina. And I think it's here and we can't go back. It's absolutely impossible. We can't say no. We just had a small trial, and now we say no, it doesn't make sense. So now it's here, it has to stay here. Of course, it has to be improved, and we will find a lot of solution to improve, to make it more, I don't know, accurate, more trust. We need to gain trust in the tool. ChatGPT, GPT, generative AI are super good tools. We need to take habits to work with, but we need to gain trust in this kind of type of tools. And it's just a question of time. We need to learn how to use them. And it's, simply speaking, is the same. We need to know how to drive the machine, how to drive the car. And you need to study a little, and then it's okay. And probably it will be a little bit more complex with generative AI, but it's here. We can't refuse, because the potential of progress is so big and so surprising for us. We are living, I'm back to the revolution, sometimes I feel very French. It's a real revolution we are living, and we are very lucky somehow. And we need to enjoy this time, because and especially my generation, because I'm older than you, I study how to use a computer, how to use a mobile phone, and now how to use generative AI. So for people of my generation, it's totally amazing. We are really in industry 4.0 or 5.0, I don't know, but we are in the close future. And it's why this type of tool has to stay. We are in, and but we need to go in the right direction, of course. And sometimes people are a little bit crazy, so we need to be careful, and we need to have regulation. It's exactly what you said, Christina. We need to make it clean. It has to be clean and respectful.